series of whispering bedtime stories. Today's story is A Dreamer's Tale by Lord Dunsany. Please, listen to this in a place you can be comfortable and relax. Botanist, beholder of the ocean. Notice one death, that is him. These are the inner lands, the lands of sentinels. You ponder borders, do not behold the sea. Beyond them, to the east, there lies a desert, forever untroubled by man. All yellow it is, and spotted with the shadows of stones, and death is in it, like a leopard lying in the sun. To the south, they are bounded by magic, to the west by a mountain, and to the north by the voice and anger of the polar wind. Like a great wall is the mountain to the west. It comes up out of the distance and goes down into the distance again, and it is named Boldarnes, beholder of the ocean. To the northward, red rocks, smooth and bare soil, and without any speck of moss of herbage, slope up to the very lips of the polar wind, and there is nothing else there by the noise of his anger. Very peaceful are the inner lands, and very fair are the cities. There is no war among them, but quiet and ease. And they have no enemy but age, for thirst and fever lie sunning themselves out in the mid-desert, and never prowl into the inner lands. And the gulls and ghosts, whose highway is the night, are kept in the south by the boundary of magic. And very small are all their pleasant cities, and all men are known to one another therein, and bless one another by name as they meet in the streets. And they have a broad, green way in every city that comes in out of some vale, or wood, or downland, and wanders in and out about the city between the houses and across the streets, and the people walk along it, never at all, but every year at their appointed time. Spring walks along it from the flowery lands, causing the anemone to bloom in the green way, and all the early joys of hidden woods, or deep, secluded vales, or triumphant downlands, whose lead lift up so proudly, far off aloof from cities. Sometimes wagoners or shepherds walk along this way. They that have come to the city from over cloudly ridges, and the townsmen hinder them not. For there is a tread that troubleth the grass, and a tread that troubleth it not, and each man in his own heart knoweth which dread he hath. quiet spaces of the wild and in the world dark places afar from the music of cities and from the dance of the cities afar. They make there the music of the country places and dance the country dance. Amiable, near and friendly appears to this man the sun, and as he is genial to them and tends the younger vines, so they are kind to the little woodland. Things and any rumor of the fairies are old legend. And when the light of some little distant city makes a slight flush upon the edge of the sky, and the happy golden windows of the homesteads there gleaming into the dark, then the old and holy figure of romance, cloaked even to the face, comes down out of the hilly woodlands and bids dark shadows to rise and dance, and sends the forest creatures forth to prowl, and lights in a moment in her bower of grass the little glow-worm's lamp, and brings a hush down over the grey lands, and out of it rises faintly on far-off hills the voice of a lute. There are not in the world lands more prosperous and happy than though these upon death Arisim. From these three little kingdoms that are named in the inner lands, the young men stole constantly away. One by one they went, and no one knew why they went save that they had a longing to behold the sea. Of this longing they spoke little, but a young man would become silent for a few days, and then one morning very early he would slip away and slowly climb Boulderne's difficult slope, and having attained the top pass over, never return. A few stayed behind in the inner lands and became the old men, but none that had ever climbed the Boulderne's from the very earliest times had ever come back again. Many had gone up Boulderne's, sworn to return. Once a king sent all his courtiers, one by one, to report the mystery to him, and then went himself. None ever returned. Now it was the wont of the folk of the inner lands to worship rumors and legends of the sea, and now that their prophets discovered of the sea was written in a sacred book, and with deep devotion, on days of festival or mourning, read in the temples by the priests. Now all their temples lay open to the west, resting upon pillars, that the breeze from the sea might enter them, and they lay open on pillars to the east, that the breezes of the sea might not be hindered by pass onward, wherever the sea list. And this is the legend that they had of the sea, whom none in the inner lands had ever beholden. They say that the sea is a river, heading towards Hercules, and they say that he touches against the edge of the world, and the Boulderne's looks upon him. They say that all the worlds of heaven go bobbing on his river and are swept down with the stream, and that infinity is thick and furry with forests, through which the river in his course sweeps with all the worlds of heaven. Among the colossal trunk of those dark trees, the smallest fronds of whose branches are man-nights, there walk the gods. And whenever its thirst, glowing in space like a great sun, comes upon the beast, the tiger of the gods creeps down to the river to drink, and the tiger of the gods drinks his fill loudly, whelming worlds the while, and the level of the river sinks between its banks, where the beast's thirst is quenched and ceases to cool like a sun. And many worlds thereby are heaped up dry and stranded, and the gods walk not among them evermore, because they are hard to their feet. These are the worlds that have no destiny, whose people know no God, and the river sweeps onwards ever, and the name of the river is Oriathon, but men call it ocean. This is the lower faith of the inner lands, and there is a higher faith which is not told to all. Oriathon sweeps on through the forest of infinity, and all at once falls roaring over the edge. Hence time has long ago recalled his hours to fight in his war with the gods, and falls unlit by the flash of nights and days, with his flood unmeasured by miles into the deeps of nothing. Now, as the centuries went by and the one way by which a man could climb wilderness became worn with feet, more and more men surmounted it, not to return. And still, they knew not in the inner lands upon that mystery wilderness looked. Far on a still day and windless, while men walked happily about their beautiful streets or tended flocks in the country, suddenly the west wind would bestir himself and come in from the sea, and he would come cloaked and grey and mournful, and carry to someone the hungry cry of the sea, calling out bones of men. And he that heard it would move restlessly for some hours, and at last would rise suddenly, irresistibly up, setting his face to both her knees, and would say, as is the custom of those lands when men part briefly, till a man's heart remembereth, which means farewell for a while, but those that love him, seeing his eyes on both their knees, would answer sadly, till the gods forget, which means farewell. Now, the king of Arizim had a daughter who played with the wild flowers and with the fountains in her father's court, and with the little blue heaven birds that came to her doorway in the winter to shelter from the snow. And she was more beautiful than the wild wood sea, the three kings bowed their heads. Lures every year out of our happy kingdoms more and more of our men, and still we know not the mystery of the sea, and no devised oath has brought one man back. Now the daughter Arisim is lovelier than the satellite, and lovelier than those stately flowers of shine that stand so tall in our garden, and had more grace and beauty than those strange birds that the venturous fowlers bring in creaking wagons out of Azadehan, whose feathers I alternate purple and white. Now he that shall love my daughter, Hinrik, whoever he shall be, is the man to climb Wilderness and return, as none hath ever before, and tell us upon what Wilderness looks. For it may be that thy daughter is more beautiful than the sea. Then from his seat of counsel arose the king of Arisim. He said, I fear that thou hast spoken blasphemy against the sea, and I have a dread that you'll come for it. Indeed, I had not thought she was so fair. It is such a short while ago that she was quite a small child, with her hair still unkempt, and not yet attired in the manner of princesses, and she would go up into wild woods unattended, and come back with her robes unseemly and all torn, and would not take reproof with a humble spirit, but made grimaces even in my marble court, all set about with fountains. Then said the king of Lothies, let us watch more closely. Let us see the princess Hilnarik in the season of the orchard bloom, when the great birds go by that know the sea, to rest in our inland places, and if she be more beautiful than the sunrise over our folded kingdoms, when all orchards bloom, it may be that she is more beautiful than the sea. And King of Arisim said, I fear this is terrible blasphemy, yet will I do as you have decided to counsel. And the season of the orchard bloom appeared. One night the king of Arisim called his daughter forth on his other balcony of marble, and the moon was rising huge and round and wholly over dark woods, and all the fountains were sinking to the night, and the moon touched the marble palace gables, and they glowed in the land, and the moon touched the heads of all the fountains, and the great columns broke into very lights. And the moon left the dark ways of the forest, and lit the whole white palace and its fountains, and shone on the forehead of the princess, and the palace of Arisim glowed afar, and the fountains became columns of gleaming jewels and song, and the moon made a music at its rising, but it fell a little short of mortal ears. And Hilnarik stood there, wondering, clad in white, with the moonlight shining on her forehead, and watching her from the shadows of the terraces stood the kings of Mondath and Dodis. They said, she is more beautiful than the moonrise. And on another day the king of Arisim bade his daughter forth at dawn, and they stood again upon the balcony, and the sun came up over a world of orchards, and the sea mists went back words that were secret to the sea. And Hilderik stood there, still glowing with dreams of heaven. She is more beautiful, said the kings, than the morning. Yet one more trial they made of Hilderik's beauty, for they watched her on the terraces at the sunset air. Yet the petals of the old cards have fallen, and all along the edge of neighboring woods the rhododendron was blooming with the azalea, and the sun went down under craggy boulderknees, and the sea mist poured over his summit and land, and the marble temple stood up clear in the evening, but films of twilight were drawn between the mountain and the city. Then, from the temple ledges and eaves of palaces, the beds fell headlong downwards, then spread their wings and floated up. And down through darkening ways, lights came blinking out in golden windows. Men cloaked themselves against the crazy mist. The sound of small song arose, and the face of Henrik became a resting place of mysteries and dreams. Then all these things, said the kings. She is more lovely, but who can say whether she is more lovelier than the sea? Brown in a rhododendron, thickened at the edge of the palace lawns, a hunter had waited since the sun went down. Near to him was a deep pool where the hyacinths grew and strange flowers floated upon it with broad leaves, and there the great bulgarians came down to drink by starlight. And waiting there for the chariot to come, he saw the white form of the princess leaning on her balcony. Before the stars shone out and the bulls came down to drink, he left his lurking place and moved closer to the palace to see more closely the princess. The palace lawns were full of untrodden dew, and everything was still when he came across them. Holding his great spear in farthest corner of the terraces, the three old kings were discussing the beauty of Hilderik and the destiny of the inner lands. Moving lightly with a hunter's tread, the watcher by the pool came very near, and in still evening, before the princess saw him, when he saw her closely, he exclaimed suddenly, "She must be more beautiful than the sea." When the princess turned and saw his garb and his great spear, she knew that he was a hunter of Cariacs. When the three kings heard the young man exclaim, they said softly to one another, "This must be the man." Then they revealed themselves to him and spoke to him to try him. They said, "Sir, you have spoken blasphemy against the sea." And the young man muttered, "She is more beautiful than the sea." And the king said, "We are older than you and wiser, and know that nothing is more beautiful than the sea." And the young man took off the gear of his head and became downcast, and he knew that he spake with the kings. Yet he answered, "By this spear, she is more beautiful than the sea." And all the while the princess stared at him, knowing him to be a hunter of Cariacs. Then the king of Arisim said to the watcher by the pool, "If thou wilt go up boulderknees and come back, as none have come, and report to us what lure of magic is in the sea, we will pardon thy blasphemy, and thou shalt have the princess to wife, and sit among the councils of kings. And gladly thereunto the young man consented, and the princess spoke to him, and asked him his name, and he told her that his name was Athelvok. Then great joy arose in him at the sound of her voice. And to the 3 kings he promised to set out on the 3rd day to scale the slope of Wilderness and return again, and this was the oath by which they bound him to return. I swear by the sea that bears the world away, by the river of Oreathon, which men call ocean, when the gods and their tiger, and by the dome of the worlds, that I will return again to the inner lands, having beheld the sea. And that oath he swore with solemnity that very night in one of the temples of the sea. But the 3 kings trusted more to the beauty of Helnarek, even than to the power of the oath. The next day, Athelvok came to the palace of Arisim in the morning, over the fields of the east and out of the country of Toldes, and Helnarek came out along her balcony and met him on the terraces. And she asked him if he had ever slain a Garyak, and he said that he had slain 3, and then he told her how he had killed his first down by the bull in the wood. For he had taken his father's spear and gone down to the edge of the pool, and had lain under the azaleas there waiting for the stars to shine, by whose first light the Garyaks go to the pools to drink, and he had gone too early and had long to wait, and the passing hours seemed longer than they were. And now the birds came in that home at night, and the bed was abroad, and the hour of the dog went by, and still no Garyak came down to the pool, and Athelvok felt sure that none would come. And just as this grew to a certainty in his mind, the thicket parted noiselessly, and huge bull Garyak stood facing him on the edge of the water, and his great horns swept out sideways from his head, and at ends curved upwards, and were 4 strides in the width from tip to tip. And he had not seen Athelvok, for the great bull was on the far side of the little pool, and Athelvok could not keep round of him, for fear of meeting in the winds. For Garyaks, who can see little in the darkest forests, rely on hearing and smell. But he devised swiftly in his mind, while the bull stood there with head erect, just 20 strides from him across the water. And the bull sniffed the wind cautiously and listened, with lowered his great head down to the pool and drank. At that instant Athelvok leaped into the water and shot forward, through his witty depths among the stems of the strange flowers that floated upon broad leaves on the surface. And Athelvok kept his spear out straight before him, and the fingers of his left hand he held rigid and straight, not pointing upwards, and so did not come to the surface, but was carried onward by the strength of his spring, and passed unentangled through the stems of the flowers. When Athelvok jumped into the water, the bull must have thrown his head up, startled at that splash, and he would have listened, and have sniffed the air, and neither hearing nor scenting any danger, he must have remained rigid for some moments, for it was in the attitude of Athelvok found him as he emerged breathless smooth with many feet. Before he reached the top, the sun disappeared from him, and darker grew the inner lands. Then he pushed on so as to see, before dark, whatever thing wilderness has to show. The dusk was deep over the inner lands, and the lights of cities twinkled through the sea mist when he came to Wilderness summit, and the sun before him was not yet gone from the sky. And there, below him, was the old wrinkled sea, smiling and murmuring song. And he nursed little ships with gleaming sails, and in his hands were old regretted wrecks, and masts all studded over with golden nails that he had rent in anger of beautiful galleons. And the glory of the sun was among surges as they brought driftwood of the isles of spice thus in their golden heads. And the great currents kept away to the south like companionless serpents that love something afar from a restless, deadly love. And the whole plain of water, glittering with late sunlight, and the surges and the currents of the white sails of ships were altogether like the face of a strange, new god that has looked at a man for the first time in the eyes at the moment of his death, and other folk, looking on the wonderful sea, knew why he was dead. The dead never return, for there is something that the dead feel and know, and the living will never understand, even though the dead would come and speak to them about it. And there was the sea smiling at him, glad with the glory of the sun. And there was a heaven. There were homing ships, and the sunlit city stood upon its marge, and people walked about the streets of its clad in the unimagined merchandise of far sea-bordering lands. And as his slope of logs, rock went on the top of Wilderness to the shore of the sea. For a long while, Arthur Fox stood there regretfully, knowing that there had come something into his soul that no one in the inner lands could understand, where the thoughts of their minds had gone no farther than 3 little kingdoms. Then, looking long upon wandering ships and the marvelous merchandise from alien lands, the unknown color that wreathed the brows of the sea, he turned his face to the darkness and the inner lands. At that moment, the sea sank a dirge as sunset for all the harm that he had done in anger and all the ruin wrought on adventurous ships. And there were tears in the voice of the tyrannous sea, for he had loved the galleons that he had overwhelmed, and he called all men to him, and all living things, that he might make amends, because he had loved the bones that he had strewn afar. And Athelfok third is set one foot upon the crumbled slope, and then another, and walked a little way to be near to the sea. And then a dream came upon him, and he felt that man had wronged the lovely sea, because he had seen, angry a little, because he had been sometimes cruel. He had felt that there was trouble among the tides of the sea, because he had loved the galleons who were dead. Still, he walked on, and the crumbled stones rolled with him, and just as the twilight faded and a star appeared, he came to the golden shore, and walked on until the surges were about his knees. And he heard the prayer-like blessings of the sea. Long he stood thus, while the stars came out above him and shone again in the surges. More stars came wheeling in the course up from the sea. Lights twinkle out through all the haven city. Lanterns were slung from the ships, the purple night burned on, and earth, to the lands as they sat afar, glowed as with one flame. Then other folk went into the haven city. There he met many who have left the inner lands